Hey, Mech Warriors, welcome to Bad Ben's Battle Mechs. I'm Bad Ben, and today I am showing off my Chaos Campaign Calculator for Alpha Strike. This is the one for Alpha Strike. If you want the calculator for Battletech Classic, there will be a link in the description that will lead you to the video for that, where you can download that one. If you would like to download this spreadsheet, there is a link in the description to a Google Drive, and you can download it from there. Yeah, it does run on Microsoft Excel. However, it also runs on LibreOffice Calc, which is a free program that you can download. Maybe I'll leave a link to the download for LibreOffice Calc, and it runs on that just as well. So if you don't want to go buy yourself Microsoft Excel, which is understandable, you can go and download for free LibreOffice Calc, and this will run exactly the same. Anyways, so what is this? This is my calculator slash record keeping sheet slash contract generator tool to help out generally with the new Chaos Campaign rules set out in Hot Spots Hinterlands. That is the newest iteration of these rules that we have. And I say this because it is slightly different from the rule set in the Mercenaries box set rulebook, which are very, very similar but different in just a few ways. This one is set up to work with Hinterlands hotspots. All right. First, a few more disclaimers. This isn't a program that will run your campaign for you. It's just a calculator. It takes the numbers that you put in and gives you the answer for it. It doesn't know a whole lot of stuff, right? And it's possible that you can just screw around with this and put in stuff wrong, and it's not going to catch it. So, yeah, that's number one. Another one is all of the values in the book in Hot Spots Hinterlands are whole numbers, no decimal points. So there are situations where numbers need to be rounded. The book doesn't really tell you how they need to be rounded up or down. So in that case, I round them normally. This can lead to a few very minor rounding errors, right? For example, you'll have 50% salvage rights, and it comes out to 601 to 599, for example, right? That's just a rounding error. You can logically say, okay, it's actually 600, right? So, yes. Disclaimer number 2. Otherwise, I think we can get into the nitty-gritty of it, and I'll show you exactly how this works and what it does. Disclaimer number 3. Sorry. I am going... Okay, actually, maybe 2 more disclaimers. I'm sorry, guys. I'm going on the premise from the book's Hot Spot Hinterlands that you can do a maximum of 2 tracks per month. All right? This thing is a monthly calculator. This calculates your costs per month. And as far as the book says, as far as I can tell, no contract really has more than 2 tracks in 1 month. So it is set up for 2 tracks in a month, right? The other disclaimer, hold on one second. Yes, the other disclaimer is there are a lot of things I don't know. For example, this salvage table has spaces to take 12 items of salvage. That seems like a lot to me. So that should be enough. Like if you're getting 12 items of salvage, that's a big game. You're running a big game, right? I don't know. Maybe at some point you'll get more than 12 pieces of salvage, in which case this isn't totally useless. You can actually just combine them in this table. All right. But so there is also for like, I don't know how far up in scale you want to go. This goes to 20. I think once you get to 20 scale, you can split your mercenary company and start a new sheet or something like that, right? Also, for example, I have places in here to keep track of all your forces. I have 10 of them with 6 places for 6 units each. So that is a total of 60 units that you can keep in this. Do you want more? I don't know. I don't know how far that's going to go. I think having 60 units is a lot. That's what I think. So yeah, I can change this stuff in the future. You know, if you download this and use this and you say, oh, it doesn't cover everything, I want it to go higher, I might be able to do that. Or for example, you can write here. So you can write in your balance down to, you can have 1,500 months, I believe is what I put in. I think 1,500 months is probably enough. You're probably not going to go over 1,500 months, right? That's over 100 years worth of playtime. But if you want more, maybe I can put in more. We'll see. All right, so that's the other disclaimer. Now we can get into the actual nitty gritty. How does this thing work? What does it do? So I'm going to go over every little part, and then I'll go into the other part, into the parts by detail. So here, company name and stuff that like your main company stuff. This is your main supply points. Here's where you put in your reputation and scale, and so on, and how many. It tells you some basic stuff. Here are all your costs. Here's all your income. This is where you keep track of all your months. This is the main contract table. When you change something here, it changes the calculation, right? Here is your total income, total costs, and the balance. And you can just take the balance and write that in here, right? So I could just go minus 500. And that will actually get calculated directly onto, when I press F9 to update it, my supply points, right? So that month I lost 500 supply points. All right. Moving on, here you can hire Mechwarriors and hire mercenaries. You can buy your units here. Here's the whole salvage table. Here's the entire where you keep all of your forces, and you can do all kinds of things with them. This little thing just says whether you're on a hiring hall or not. Here is a contract generator that generates a contract for you and an opposing contract. This little table here is just a static tracks table for you to be able to roll on. So I just put it here so you don't have to open it up in the book. It's exactly the same as in the book, right? So that's generally all of the elements of this. How does it actually work? So up here, this is just a blank field. And you can write your company name in here. Here's your supply points. You don't write your supply points in manually. You could, but I shouldn't. That's not supposed to happen like that. I should protect the sheet. It will be protected. The sheet will be protected. You won't be able to screw anything up. When you write in it, it'll do this, right? If you try to write anything in there, it'll go like that. Reputation, this is just a blank record keeping cell, so you can keep track of your own reputation. The reputation really doesn't come into any of the calculations, so this number actually doesn't really matter for any of the calculations. Just keep it as whatever you want. This is scale. This absolutely affects all of the calculations. Right now I'm at scale 1, and it tells me that my maintenance costs are $500 per month. If I move that up to scale 2 and update it, right. That's another disclaimer I should say. I have it set. If you go up to formulas, calculation options, I have it set to manual. I have reasons for having it set to manual, but there's absolutely no reason you can't just go and set it to automatic calculation options. And then when I do this, everything will change automatically. But for reasons I will get into later, I have it set by default as manual. I don't know if that's an option that will like save. So if you open this up and it's not on manual, you might want to set it to manual. You might want to keep it on automatic. You might want to switch it to automatic. It's really up to you. It really actually only has to do with this uh, contract generation table. So if you're not using the contract generation table, absolutely just go and switch that to automatic, and it will do everything immediately. I'll keep it on automatic right now so I don't have to keep pressing F9. So if you change your scale, it changes a whole bunch of stuff on here, right? So it changes your maintenance cost. It'll change your base pay, right? So here, if I have my base pay, it's going to tell me my base pay at scale 2 will be at 100% $1,000, right? 80%, it's going to give me $800. If I change that to scale 3, that scales up, it does it automatically, right? So you just put your scale in here and it does all of that for you. That's an important one. A lot of things are looking at that. Here, your battle support points per track, right? This is different in Alpha Strike. You're going to be using your PV points instead of like the battle value points, of which you'll have 1,000, and the battle support points per track, right? And that will go up as you change your scale. If I go to scale 2, I get 10 battle support points per track. Now there is a rule in Hot Spots Hinterlands about for all the points you don't use, you can convert that into battlefield support points, right? But it only, in the book, it only gives you values if you're playing BattleTech Classic. It doesn't, at the moment, as of the first printing, tell you how to do that for Alpha Strike. However, there is an errata forum where they have all of the mistakes, and they've changed that. And if you're wondering, for Alpha Strike, for every 4 unused points, you get 1 extra battle support point, right? So let's say I am allowed to take 200 points and I only take 180. It's going to do a calculation that shows me how many extra battle support points I get to take, right? If I change that to 181, that's going to change to 4. And it will never, if I only took like 50 points, it'll never be more than this one. All right? Because that's what it says in the rules. All right, moving on. This is just your costs. This is everything, and you don't need to touch any of that, and you can't touch any of that. It'll all be protected. This will just show you what your costs are. When you do stuff here, for example, if I say I need repairs, I need to repair the armor on this guy, that's going to cost me $20. That will automatically go in here in repair, heal, and rearm. Actually, I should rename that. Actually, it doesn't matter. There's no healing in Alpha Strike. You don't have to, your Mechwarriors don't take damage. So that really shouldn't say heal, but it really doesn't matter. Actually, I'll just change that already. And protect that and change that to repair, rearm. Okay? Because this is the Alpha Strike variant. We don't need that to say heal. So we'll protect that again. So yeah, if you say that you need other repairs here, it all gets added up to there. And that also gets changed by the amount of support that you get. So if I have 50% support, they'll pay for half of that, right? And it'll tell me how much they're paying. And here it'll tell me how much I'm paying. Right? If you change that to 25, then I have to pay more, they pay less. Easy peasy. Mercenaries, this is kind of a weird thing. This is really only if you write cost in here, 50, that cost will just appear here. I need to split things up into different costs because different ones are affected by different things, right? The repair and rearm costs are all covered by support, but mercenaries are not. So that's why it's all kind of split up. You really don't need to worry about that. You just, if you're going to hire a mercenary, write the cost there. Training, this has to do with if you want to improve your skills, right? Transport costs, it's all pretty, transport costs get calculated here. Put in your number of jumps. Okay, there's two ways of calculating your jumps in the book. You can just say it's going to cost me 300 support points flat out to go anywhere, or you can do a calculation of 50 per jump plus an additional 50. That is what I've put into the book. So it's calculating if I put, I can do 10, it's going to cost me a lot more than 300. If you only want to play by the rules of 300 to go anywhere, just keep the number of jumps at 5, right? That'll be, and it's 300 at scale 1, right? Then your transportation cost, that gets, if your transportation is 75%, then they're going to cover 75%, and you're left paying only 25% of the costs, right? Hiring and buying. So this has to do with if you're going to buy a unit, right? Put in the point value, it calculates the costs of that. And this number is actually, this number is altered by your battle support, okay? And if we go here and I change it to 30%, you'll see nothing happened. Why didn't anything happen? Why aren't they covering 30% of the cost of me wanting to buy that? Because they only cover it if your unit is destroyed. If you destroy a unit in the field, right? Here's the value of that unit. Of this Viper A who has a PV of 38. Okay? So battle support is 30%, and it'll tell me what how many how much PV is covered. And I just realized this says 11.4 and it shouldn't say 11.4. Give me a second, I'm going to fix that. So, yes, I have fixed it. It no longer says 11.4, it says 11, which is better. So it shows you at 30% battle support because you have a damaged unit, right? No, a destroyed unit. They will help to cover the cost of replacing that with a new unit, right? If they covered, and here is mine cost now is 960, and they're covering, it shows you in point value. I find it's better to show you in point value. Anyways, got to move on. I think you get the idea. Leftover salvage, this has to do with the salvage table. If you salvage some units, right? 41, these are the different units that you've salvaged. Let's say you have 60% salvage rights, and you want to keep all of that. Well, this gets a little complicated. I'll go over this in a little bit, but it's going to tell you if you want to keep all of this, which I think by the rules you probably can't. you have to pay the leftover on whatever they're not covering, right? And that leftover salvage number is going to be this one here, 608, and that's what comes in here. However, you'll see that it says balance 88. That's because the exchange value goes in here, right? So these values just go in as they are, and then they get calculated. Here I can see what the balance and difference. Anyways, we'll get into that a little later. This is just, that's why this leftover salvage is here. Other costs is a blank field just for you to put in any number that might be another expense that I don't know about. I don't know how things can go, and it would be frustrating if there's no way just to like alter this yourself, right? So other costs can go in there. Base pay, that gets calculated here. So if I'm getting 80% base pay at scale 1, they're going to be paying me $400 per month, right? Combat pay, this is an empty field that you can fill with any number that you want. I tried to figure out a way to... I don't know what your combat pay is going to be. And there's a lot of different values that it might be. I know that it says it'll only be like 250 or 500 or 700, but that's also altered by your scale. And so I thought it's just easier if I leave combat pay. You got to calculate your own combat pay after the track, put it in here. 750, that goes in, right? Exchange salvage, that just has to do with this number. This is what you're getting in exchange for your salvage. Sold mechs, you can sell your mechs, obviously. Sell mech, yes. It'll tell you the sell price, which isn't the same as the buy price, and that number just goes in here. And there is another field just for other income. There are other instances where you might do a piracy mission and then income is done a little different. I guess you could just put that in the combat pay. It really doesn't matter. I just wanted to make another field for other income just to make it clear. So this is this whole first table and how that works and what that does. Moving on, this is the contract table. These fields are all just blank for you to write whatever you want in there. The contract name can go in here, your primary terrain. This whole calculator does not calculate any of your terrain. There's a lot of different planets, and some planets have stated primary terrain types, some don't, and then there's rules to roll for it, and so on and so forth. But it's an extremely complicated thing, and it actually has nothing to do with the calculation and your costs per month. So you figure out what your primary terrain is, and you can write it in here if you feel like it. Same goes with employer. There's a whole bunch of different employers in the books. There's a whole slew of anybody could potentially be an employer, so just write your employer. Again, it doesn't really come into the calculation at all. Type of mission, also just write it in here. Length in months, I don't know how many months you're going to be, and it also doesn't come into the calculation very much, so just write in. Maybe it's going to be a 12-month mission, and that's really just for your own record keeping. All of these fields are really just for your own record keeping and don't come into the calculation. Base pay, easy enough. You set it to whatever your base pay is going to be. I kind of explained that. And then that gets put into the calculation. Easy peasy. I think I've put in all the value. I put in all the values from the main contract table that are possible for base pay. So it doesn't seem like it's possible to get any value between 0 and 50, so that's how I did it. I based it on the book. Straight support. That's covering your costs of repair, right? Repairs are here. In Hot Spots Hinterland, there are only 4 different types of repair, and you only pay for the highest one. This is really a main difference between the Hot Spots Hinterlands book and the Mercenaries box set rule book. They have a different repair system, and actually that repair system would have made it very, very difficult for me to make this a whole spreadsheet. I would have had to have a whole different table for repairs and so on, and it would have been a nightmare. So I've stuck with this. There are 2 repair fields because I'm going on the assumption that there are 2 tracks per month, which is, pretty standard for what the book says. And you can. This means obviously destroyed, not truly destroyed. Truly destroyed. This should say truly destroyed. Doesn't matter. I'm not going to change that. You get it. If you read the book, you'll understand there's a difference between destroyed and truly destroyed. And it'll just show you your costs right here. How much that's going to cost you. And all those numbers go up into the other fields and are altered by how much support you have. So ammo refills in Alpha Strike, it's just a flat. You don't know how many ammo bins any one mech has, so it's a flat cost of 20 per mech that you need to do ammo refills. So since you can have up to 2 tracks per month, you can possibly do 2 ammo refills per month, right? And the cost just gets put here. Switch Omni. If it's an Omni mech, the Viper A is an Omni mech. The rules for switching Omni are there, and you can switch your Omni up to 2 times a month because you can play 2 tracks. Like I said, I'm repeating myself. I know. I just need to explain everything in detail. And the cost is 10 supply points per month. So you can just do that. It all gets added to your costs. Improve skill. Say yes, and it'll tell you the cost based on what your current skill is now. So what it's calculating is the cost to go from skill 3 to skill 2. If I change that to skill 2, then the cost is going up to 1,000 because that's what it costs to upgrade an Alpha Strike skill from 2 to 1. It's not going to calculate this. It's not going to change this number for you. So once you've paid it, change it, right? It's up to you. This is what I mean by it's not running your campaign for you. If you've paid for the cost of upgrading your skill, then make sure to upgrade the skill yourself. Don't forget about that. This thing isn't going to do it for you. Okay. Yes. So then we have sell mech. You can just say, I want to sell your mech. That goes into your income. I don't really want to, and it's not destroyed. So you have destroyed. This is the sell price. Destroyed, if this is truly destroyed, then you say yes. And then that gets put into the calculation of your battle support. Not straight support, battle support. Oh, another thing I wanted to say about battle support and straight support, right? If you have any battle support of any kind, the rules say you automatically have 100% straight support. This doesn't know that. So if you don't remember, okay, therefore I have 100% straight support, this thing isn't going to just do it for you. Make sure you do that. So where were we? Yeah, destroyed. It calculates the value, and your battle support will cover a portion of that. If you want to replace it with another mech, if you have battle support and you're not buying another mech, you're not getting the money. All right, that's just one thing I want to cover. That's I've asked a lot of people about these rules. I've done a lot of investigation because the book can be a little bit unclear with some of these things, but battle support isn't just paying you a certain percentage of the money of your destroyed units. It's paying that money towards another unit that you buy, right? And it's only paying you a percentage of the value of the mech that you lost, right? This you can basically ignore it. This just says unit, yes or no, and this just says a 1 if there is a unit and a 0 if there is no unit. The only way it knows a unit is if this is blank, then it assumes there's no unit. If there's any number in here whatsoever, any letter or word in here, it assumes it is a unit. Okay? So, and that brings me to the next part. Formations. So I've split these into, 6 so that you can have like the Comstar formations, the level 2 or whatever they call it. I don't remember what it's called. But if you're only using lances, you can use 4 of the slots. Clans, stars would use 5 and 6 for Comstar. But I mean, that really doesn't, it doesn't make any difference, really. So here you can give this force a name, right? I can call it the donkeys or whatever. So that's my donkey lance. Formation. Does it have a formation? Here's all the formations that I could find in different books, I think. Right, so this doesn't matter. This is just record keeping, so you can know, okay, this is a Nova. It isn't a Nova, or it's a Pursuit Lance, right? If you want to create a formation, then here you say, yes, I want to create a formation, and then it's going to calculate the cost. The cost of that is 10 per unit in the formation, right? Once you've created that, make sure to go and change that back to no, or else you're going to be calculating that cost in every month. If you want to change a formation, it costs 5 per unit. So the cost to change this formation. But this thing doesn't know if you have a formation or not, and you could just as easily say create formation and change the formation in the same month, which would be wrong. So don't do that. All right, and all of these work the same way. There's 10 of them, like I said, room for up to 60 units. Right. Salvage. This is easy. Don't question how it works. Just believe the answer. All you have to do is put the point value of your salvage, right? So if I salvaged a Kodiak 2, it would be 50 PV. This just tells you its sell price. That's not really all that important. And this tells you if you want to keep this, is where you choose whether you want to keep it or exchange it. Now, you need to go and understand the salvage rules in the book, the way that they're written in the book. We'll change this, for example, to 40%, right? In this situation, I've salvaged Kodiak 2. They're going to pay 600, but that leaves me with the extra 400, right? Let's say I got 2 Kodiak 2s. In this situation, according to the rules, you can't just keep both Kodiak. Well, no, you can keep both Kodiak 2s, but then you're going to have to pay the difference. If you exchange it, right, then they'll pay you the extra 600 that you're not getting from this. You take in support points. That just gets put down here. Extra salvage. This is your keep value. This is how much they're letting you keep of everything that's here. And that's how much you have left to pay. 400, but you have to take into account that you're getting 600 back. So your balance is 200, right? This 400 is going into the salvage costs. This 600 is going into your income from salvage. It's very easy to cheat with this. For example, this would be cheating. If I have 30% or 40% straight support, no, wait, is that cheating? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if you're. I don't think that you're just allowed to say, no, I don't want any of the mechs. I'll just take the money, right? But this calculator will let you do whatever you want. So it's up to you to read the rules of the salvage in the book, understand how it works, and this will just let you calculate that nice and easy. All you have to do is put in the point value of the salvaged unit in there. Then say if you want to keep or exchange it, right? Easy peasy. Here, this little nothing just says hiring hall, yes, no. The rules in the book in the first printing of Hot Spots Hinterland have nonsense written about what it costs to stay in a hiring hall. I think it says something like it only costs 50 war chest points instead of the usual 150 war chest points, which is nonsense for your maintenance is what I'm talking about. So your maintenance costs, because maintenance costs are calculated in support points and you pay 500 of those. The real rules that will be in the second printing of this book state it costs 100 support points to stay on a hiring hall world, regardless of scale. So it doesn't matter whether I'm scale 1 or scale 10, it always costs 100 support points to stay on a mercenary world, which in higher scales really, really makes it very useful to stay on a hiring hall world. Yes, this is how it works. It's in the errata I've asked. Yes. So if you're on a hiring hall world and you're waiting for a contract, you can just say, I'm on a hiring hall world, and then your maintenance costs go way, way down. So don't forget about that. So why would you be on a hiring hall world? Well, because you might want to get a randomly generated contract, and there are rules in the book for how to randomly generate a contract. Disclaimer on this contract generator: this is specifically this isn't like an overall contract generator for any hiring hall world that you might be on. It is actually built by the guys at Catalyst as the hiring hall Almotason. I think I'm saying that right. Okay? And for example, there's no retainer missions available on Almotason. So you'll never get a retainer as a type of mission type. It'll never say retainer. So yeah, disclaimer, this is the Almotason hiring hall contract generator. If other books in the future come out with different hiring halls, then this isn't going to apply to that. This applies for Hot Spots Hinterlands. In the future, as new ones come out, maybe I can make new contract generators for different planets and so on and so forth. But as this is the only one we have so far, this is it. Here is the primary contract. Here is the opposing contract. Okay? It's really straightforward. It rolls all the stuff. Here's sheet 2. Here's all the stuff to generate the contracts. And it does it, according to the rules. And it's easy. All you have to do to get a new one is press F9. See? And you get a new one. a few disclaimers. Okay, yeah, no, this here. I'll show you why I have it set on manual. First, I'll have it set on automatic. And the reason I have it by default set on manual is, let's say I want this contract as a planetary government, right? And I take that contract, I say, okay, my base pay is 100%. So let's go in here and click 100. Oh, did you just see that? This entire thing just changed. Anytime you change anything here, that contract's going to disappear and you're not going to get it. And that's really annoying. So change it to manual. That's why I have it as default on manual. When I change anything now, right, I could change that to 80. Nothing will change. This won't change unless you press F9. If you have your calculation options set on manual, and you do a whole bunch of stuff, doodly doodly do. Oh yeah, he needs an armor repair. This guy is crippled. I need some ammo refills for these two, and so on and so forth. And it's set to manual. Nothing's going to happen until I press F9. And that's going to be my cost for the month, right? So, calculation option set to manual. If you want to take this stuff, right? What do I have? Salvage rights, change to 20%. I can do that now without changing this whole thing. If it's set to automatic and I change anything here, that whole contract is going to disappear. Watch the contract. Oh, different. So that is the reason I have it. Oops, no. I don't know what this middle one does. Don't ask me. Okay. So anything else? Yes. Tracks. This table down here, as I said before, this is just the track table in the book. I can't determine which track you should do next because each one has to be rolled after the track that you just played. So you have to play a track, then roll on this table again to find out what the next track is. I don't know when you finished a track and when the next one's coming up. So I'm not choosing it. Just roll it, right? It's pretty straightforward. It has raid, expedition, garrison, invasion. Roll a 1d6, right? You have an invasion, then you have to do the flank track. The tracks are all laid out in the book. If you have the book, you'll know all about the tracks. So I think this is the end of the video. I hope you all understand it generally, how this thing works, and maybe it can be useful. You can use it if you want. Download it in the link below. If you find bugs, if you know anything that's not right, if for example one of these units you're trying to write tonnage in it and then it says, you're not allowed to write in that, please message me. Please tell me. Write it here. I can update it, and then you can re-download it. I can fix any bugs in the future. Please tell me of any bugs that you find. I've gone over this thing many, many times. I think I've got it all correct, but you know these things. It's always different. All right, so I hope you enjoyed that. Download it. Tell me what you think. If it works, if you like it, if you don't. Don't tell me if you don't like it. I don't care if you don't like it. If you don't like it, just don't download it, right? When you get it, this stuff won't all be here. I'll delete all that. I just wanted that so that I could demonstrate. Everything will be set to 0. All right. So that's the end of this video. Hope to see you next time. Have a good one, guys. Bye-bye.